Hi guys, today I'm going to show you exactly what is my approach to creating my 3D walk cycle animation in Maya. Okay, this approach I've been using it for many years and I really hope that it can help you to speed up your walk cycle animation, and if you are starting to learn to create walk cycle animation, this is going to be very helpful to you. Okay, now let me just start off with what exactly you achieve by using this approach. Now if you can see from my website, this is what I've done: side view, front view, and perspective view, and all the different type of views. Now you try to create a realistic character walk cycle. To make it more realistic, you have to adjust, to make it moving naturally, head nodding, and stuff like this, and especially the force should be very obvious to indicate that this person is actually walking. All right, and this is what my student has done. Right, previously he started off with this. It's a different kind of character rig, but the concept is the same. The hand is a bit long. Anyway, he exaggerated a little bit on the shoulders, but overall this is the effect that you will get when you create a walk cycle. On the second time he attempted his walk cycle, he created his own models and tried to create his own walk cycle using this new model, and this is how it looks like. Alright, so what exactly is this method that I'm talking about? It's called the Bean Sprout F3R3 method. So why the Bean Sprout? Bean Sprout, okay, if you take a look at the image, what I'm trying to achieve over here is we start with the pelvis, this is the bean itself, and then we start with the leg, and we animate the leg after the pelvis, alright? And once the pelvis and the leg is done, which means the lower torso is done, we move on to the upper torso. Alright, and in this sequence, follow up the upper torso with the head and finally the arms. Now, why do I create this sequence? Because the pelvis holds the main weight of the walk cycle, and if you get the weight of the the main weight correct in the first place, the remaining component of the human that you animate will flow nicely together with it. So you actually follow exactly using the timing and the spacing you did for your pelvis. Now, so what exactly is this F3R3 sequence? We're trying to include 12 principles of animation to make your walk cycle looks natural. However, not all 12 of them are applicable for walk cycle, especially the very basic walk cycle that we're going to create in this exercise is it's not going to use all of them. Okay, what I've did is I categorized the first three important one, which is the foundation tree that talks about the pose, the time, and the ease. Once you got the pose, the time, and the ease done, you follow with the refinement tree, the R tree. Okay, you refine based on your timing, your pose, and ease. So how do you refine? You include things like overlapping actions, you include things like exaggeration, and finally your appeal. Okay, so let's get straight into this. So how do we exactly create this walk cycle? Now, let me just show you. With a walk cycle, this is the walk cycle I've created, and it's a very basic walk cycle. So I'm gonna play it. You can just see that it's walking just like what I've shown you earlier on. Now, how do we approach creating this walk cycle? Very simple. The first thing that we're gonna do is actually we animate the pelvis. So how do we animate the pelvis? Simply by selecting the pelvis, and then we animate this first. Okay, pelvis is the most important thing. And once we got the pose, the timing is correct. Okay, let's take a look at the pose and timing. Okay, it is okay. I put it with 4 in betweens, right? So the contact pose, down pose, and then the passing pose, the up pose, and back to the contact pose. So these are the 4 basic poses that we're gonna create. So once you got this, and we move on to the graph editor to create an easing in and easing out. So as you can see, this is the graph basic graph that I've created. Okay, and a very simple basic graph, and that's all. So once you're done with the animating of pelvis, you move on to the leg, right? So same thing we do with the posing. Okay, do the posing of the 4 different poses. Okay, from the contact pose to the down pose of the legs. You can see, right? So this I'm just positioning. I'm not even talking about rotating them. We are going to do the refinement later on, right? So you can always do that later. And then you have this passing pose, then followed by the up pose, and then you have the contact pose again. All right, And for my style, I prefer to have the legs totally down because I do that. I do the legs pointing upwards in a later stage. Alright, so and this, once you have this as a basic foundation of your walk cycle, the rest should be quite easy for you to follow on. Alright, and for legs, that's because we are going to use IK and FK for the legs. We move our legs and the knees will move together. So this is what we call the IK animation, and there is no need to use overlapping actions. Alright, so we just manipulate based on this. Okay, for pelvis and legs, most of the time we are doing pose, time and easing in and easing out to create the main force function, right? So once you are done with that, appeal we can always add them on later. So once you're done with pose, time and easing, that's where you start to put in your refinement. So this is how I refine it. I put the legs nicely tilted forward, and you can see this is how you refine it. Alright, and flip, and notice that small details such as your toe flipping backwards, and then before landing on the ground, it is pointing upwards. I try to make it gentle because this is much more realistic in my opinion, for a more natural walk cycle rather than exaggerated. Okay, so these are things to look out for. Moving on to the upper torso, what you do is we follow the timing of the pelvis. Because we have the pelvis timing is up, so your upper torso, as you can see, I'm literally following whatever timing I have for my pelvis. So my pelvis is like 6, 11, 16. So how I animate it is like this, right? So this is what we call overlapping actions. Same thing, your timing, your pose, your timing, and your easing is all settled because they are basically following your pelvis. So what do you need to add on next is overlapping actions for your upper torso, which is timing of the abdomen. It is slightly closer to your pelvis, then followed by your waist, and then followed by your chest. So you can see each of them, the timing, legs by a few frames, so that we create overlapping actions. So then it makes it much more natural, and we are applying the principle of animations. In this case, there's not much exaggeration to put it in. Once your upper torso is done, you can actually move on to your creating a head animation. Same thing, your head will follow the last animation of your upper torso, which is the chest area. Okay, the neck and the head, and then you try to give a little bit of nod every time it goes down. It gives a nod, and that's how we animate it. Alright, same thing, time, pose, easing, all these are done before you do a refinement. Once you're done with your lower torso, upper torso, even the head, you can move on to creating your animation for your arms. And as you can see, because everything is in sequence, all I need to do is just follow the timing of the pelvis and even the shoulders for the movement. So the next thing that you do to refine it is to add in overlapping actions. Okay, so as you can see, the shoulder starts off with like frame 5, and then you can see the elbow, it starts a few frames later, and then followed by the hand. Okay, it will lag much more behind, so it's actually this is the keyframe that is following number 10 and number 6. So that's how you create overlapping actions. Alright, and a few final things to touch up to include appeal as a principal animation is things such as your hand. You can have it slightly more relaxed. Alright, and when you're creating your animation, you should make your eyes to look forward at all times. So right now you can see the eyes no longer looking all over the place, right? And finally, what you can add in is to look at the front view of your upper torso. That the body will move to left and to the right, because that's where your legs, okay, your pelvis is actually supporting on your leg. Okay, so what I did was first I animate the pelvis to be, okay, if you take a look at contact pose, the contact pose looks very even, symmetry, which is normal. Okay, the time where it needs to change the balance is when the pelvis is standing on one leg. And when one person is standing on one leg, the pelvis, in order to make the whole body balance, the pelvis is always above the pivot point, which means on the contact pose of the contact position of the feet to the ground. So this is the pose, and you move your pelvis to above it so that your body will be balanced. Okay, so you can see it swing to the left and swing to the right. All right, and then you can also look at the top view. Now, and if you look at the top view, things that you can add in is you cross your shoulders and your pelvis. Okay, the shoulders, you will swing, rotate to the left and to the right wherever your hand is swinging forward. If it's forward, then the left hand is forward, then the left shoulder should be swung forward. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, so you move forward towards it. Alright, and of course, the front view, if you take a closer look, you should be able to see that the shoulder is actually swinging, okay, tilting from up to down from one side. That's where your pelvis is actually tilting down on the other side. So you actually contradicts it. And this way, you can see that the shoulder is actually tilting to the other side, and the pelvis is tilting to the other side. So this is actually the line of action of a normal human mechanics. So with all this, and that's how you create a simple walk cycle animation, and this is definitely for beginners. So I will hope that this will be very helpful to you, and you can create your own walk cycle animation. For more details, do check out my website at ilearntoanimate.com, and you'll find more detailed explanation to how I create my walk cycle in Maya. And thank you for watching. I'm Nashlin, and cheers. See you soon.